everybody. Here with another episode of Race to the Summit Deep Dive with the Engineering Review. And today we're here with Vigilant. I'm joined with Greg Hodges, VP of Sales and Principal Architect, Alan Sellars. Guys, welcome. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Hey, thanks so much. Glad to be here with the Telarus team.
Greg, for anybody that doesn't know, hasn't experienced Vigilant, can you give me a little bit of backstory? I think we're going to get into a lot of good products, but give me a little backstory on who Vigilant is. Where did you guys come from? Who are you, for anybody that doesn't know?
Yeah, I mean, Vigilant is your cybersecurity partner, right? Our primary go-to-market strategy is through partners and agents through relationships just like this one. And so we focus on cybersecurity. We have a couple primary services that you might be familiar with. One of them operates in the NDR arena. It's called CyberDNA. And then we also have a fully managed endpoint solution that operates as an EDR solution. We call it Vigilant MEP, Managed Endpoint Protection. We've been around for a little time now. Been a company for about 11 years, been selling through the channel for about 9 of those 11 years. And we were founded by a guy who has been all over this industry. In fact, he served in a role much like what a lot of your customers do. He was a CISO in an automotive supply type financing company. And so he lived out the pain, the grief, the fears, the sleepless nights that a lot of your customers live out every day. And it was out of his learnings that he stumbled into really a different way to view security. It's a little bit more logical. It's very different from the way the industry typically approaches security. And it has allowed us to patent some of our solutions and really be best of breed in what we do for you and your customers, right?
Love it. And I remember the first time we saw you guys, I thought, this is so, just when you think you'd seen a lot of these things, you'd seen a lot of products, you'd seen a lot of stuff, never am I going to say, okay, this is different. It was interesting how different what you guys have is and how it compares to everything else out there. So I appreciate coming from a technical approach, right? It just isn't some product that somebody created that is, this one little easy thing. So it applies and it works.
For sure.
So Alan, let's get nerdy for a minute here. You guys have a good product called CyberDNA, has a ton of benefits here. You want to run through for me what a couple of those unique benefits are, right? Because look, our partners are in these conversations. Customers have different needs, different problems, and it kind of comes back, who do we have that does this thing, right? And so that's generally how we get brought into opportunities. So I would love people to know, what are some of the key benefits of CyberDNA, if you can go through a couple of those.
Yeah, absolutely. As Greg mentioned, CyberDNA is an NDR solution that's managed detection and response. And through that, it provides extra layers of visibility all the way down to the physical layer. So we capture everything through the entire network stack. We do out-of-band management so that we make sure that we're secure in the environment that we're trying to help protect with our customers and clients. We promote a zero false positive rate with our CyberDNA product line. It's, as Greg mentioned, a patented solution for us. So we have ways that, we work through the cybersecurity front that nobody else can do because it's specific to us and our practices. We have a mean time to detection and response of 1 day versus an industry standard of 315 days to containment and resolution.
Yeah, I mean, that IBM report that just came out a few weeks ago, the most recent standardized, fully accepted report, that mean time to detect and contain a malicious threat in the world today is around 315 days. We do that 99.7% faster, right? Usually minutes to hours, even on net new types of threat activity. So it's very, very quick detection. It is zero false positives. That means we're saving your customers a lot of time, energy, stress. And when they hear from us about what we do detect very, very quickly, it allows them to know for sure it's actionable. So we don't only alert them, we pull the fire alarm and say, hey, something's here, let's do something about it. We also tell you exactly what to do about it as well. Full recommended course of action.
That's right.
So we become your partner, your ally for your customer, keeping them safe so that threat actors can't take advantage of them.
That's right. And through that, we provide unlimited instant response with CyberDNA. So it doesn't matter how big, how little, or how many times a threat actor tries to execute in somebody's environment, we're there. And if our customers aren't sleeping, then neither are we. We're there 100% of the time, 100% of the way through to complete resolution.
Yeah, and that unlimited IR is really one of our major value propositions, right? If you think about that, it can be a little mind-blowing. It can even be a little bit unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's very much true. And there's really almost two ways to look at that. One way is every single minute of every single day, 24/7, 365, we are doing incident response for you. When a breach happens, when something gets through, we're detecting that very quickly. We're doing full investigation on that, full forensics, full chain of custody as well. And once we determine what it is and what needs to be done about it, we let you know very, very quickly as well. That is incident response. That's part of the service. Unlimited incident response is built in. And then also for those incidents that get in, we detect it very quickly, and the plan has to be maybe a little larger, right? Maybe they're a little further down the kill chain. They came in at point A, they're heading to point Z, but the threat actor's only kind of been to points B or C. We also help remediate that and give you forensic data around that in an unlimited fashion, no cap on how many hours and no additional cost beyond the service cost as well.
Yeah.
So it's a real value proposition for your customer.
I like that because, I mean, I've seen probably more IR requests in the last 24 months, maybe even the last 12 months than I've seen ever before, right? Is it the pivot to home? Is it ever, bad guys targeting new stuff, right? They get excited and something new shiny to go after and target. We could lay claim on any of those things, but part of the problem that I always see is that's a lot of work to go in post-mortem from an incident response perspective and just try and kind of figure it out. And to your point, how long that generally takes with the technology that you guys have that kind of sits in there, so different than the way anything else does. We've heard so many stories of people going, oh yeah, I think I got it out. I think, we paid the ransomware. It wasn't that much. I think I got it out. And you guys both know, they created a backdoor. If they're really good, they created a second plan. They're sitting there dormant. 2 months later, they pop back up and do it again. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen recently a ton. So.
Yeah. One of the things about CyberDNA is we do full packet capture. We're monitoring, by the way, both sides of that firewall as well. So we're seeing things in the local area. We're also seeing it in the WAN, right? And we're doing full packet capture. We're retaining that for really whatever period of time makes sense for you. Maybe there's a compliance issue or something like that. We're keeping it long enough for us to feel very confident that we have everything we need to know to forensically verify if you have a clean environment or if you don't. Right. We can literally prove with data if you're clean or if you're not. We can see previous remnants that might have been in your environment as well. But in the case of an incident, we can certainly say, not only did we help you get the threat actor out, but we also cleaned up all along the way what they might have left behind as they got to the point they were traveling to. So it's a very, very powerful solution that we have that put your customer in a very good place from a security standpoint.
That's right. Through that zero false positive promise that we have with CyberDNA, part of what we're doing with that packet capture is ensuring that we have eyes on screen validating everything that comes through so that we reduce the amount of noise, reduce the amount of management, and increase the intelligence and awareness that you can drive business decisions around. CyberDNA is a security product, but at the end of the day, what we're really trying to provide for our customers is business intelligence. Yeah. Something that's not only providing security and compliance for them, but metrics, data, tangible information back to our customers and the businesses to show that not only are they secure, but they're making the right actions inside their environment. Yeah. They know they can do proper risk assessment to understand, what's acceptable for their business and their environment and where they should be spending smart dollars.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about CyberDNA. I mean, certainly a lot of what we talk about is just that when the threat actor gets in, we pull the alarm, we all get together and make sure we get the bad guys out. You would expect that from an MDR solution. There's a whole nother value proposition side that Alan was alluding to, which is we have all of this data because we're seeing everything. Like Alan said, all the way down to layer 1 on that OSI model. And we use that data in a very strategic way with your customers. We present it back to them through visualizations, through standard reporting, sometimes through custom reporting if they have particular requirements. And with that data, they can make decisions over time, business decisions over time, that iteratively put them in a better position tomorrow than they were today, and next week better than they were this week, through vulnerability scanning and reporting, just through insights that we're seeing around who's hanging around their environment, and what do we need to do to make sure that those people never get in based on what we're seeing in your environment as well. So we're not just the fire alarm pullers, but we also say, hey, let's get safer and safer and safer. Because really the ultimate goal of everyone who's burdened with the responsibility of keeping the bad guys out, all of us, our ultimate goal is never let it happen.
Right.
And it's with data that you can make those decisions that help keep you safe. And it's custom to you. It's not generic data. It's not best practice based on industry. It is what we see in real time in your environment, and we can use that data to help keep you safer as well. So it really does a lot. It's easy to say CyberDNA, it's MDR. It's so much more than that.
It really is. You bring up a good point. Part of the purpose of these videos is to help partners understand the right questions to ask, the right ways to fit you into an opportunity. And then also, I'm a big overcoming objections fan. So one of the points that you brought up on that where, it's different than a traditional SIEM log management tool. If a partner goes into an opportunity and they say, what do you have for log management? And you hear, I'm using Splunk, or I'm using QRadar, I'm using this or that. What would you encourage that partner to say is the next level of that conversation to get you guys in the door?
Yeah, that's good. Why don't I take the first stab and you take the second? Because we'll probably answer from a slightly different perspective, right? Our chief engineer here and the vice president of sales. But here's what I would say. There is one serious consideration when you're looking at a SIEM solution that you need to think about as it relates to how threat actors might operate. That SIEM solution is gathering some data and analyzing data at certain layers in the traffic, right? In that OSI model. The challenge with the analysis of the data that you get in the SIEM solution is if the threat actor doesn't modify the logs, your analysis could be very good. But the truth is, we know forensically, because we see it often, threat actors can actually modify logs. So if your SIEM solution is not looking, and they don't, if it's not looking below that log layer, then you have no idea whether that log that you're analyzing has been modified or not. So you are not as secure oftentimes as what a SIEM solution might make you feel. That's one of the things that kind of have a conversation with your customers about.
Absolutely. Building off of that, SIEM solutions are just one tool inside of the Swiss Army knife that is cybersecurity and managed detection response. CyberDNA inherently, because of the way it collects data for our customers, is partly a SIEM solution. Its SIEM solution is a portion of what CyberDNA provides. On top of that, one of the ways we guarantee security through CyberDNA is through the out-of-band management that we do. When we put our sensors and taps in place for CyberDNA, that is a one-way street of communication. It doesn't exist with a device in our customer's network. It can't be circumvented. It can't be manipulated in any way because it's just an electrical connection repeating signals. So because of that, we can guarantee that the SIEM portion of CyberDNA can never be manipulated, changed, circumvented, or in any way compromised. It's just part of the value of what CyberDNA brings.
Yeah, security really is, if you were to boil down the definition, it's the knowledge there is no threat. It's the knowledge. You have to know there is no threat. And we can provide that forensically. We can prove whether there is a threat or not. That's a big difference from just hoping you catch a bad guy through simple analysis.
Yeah.
Good.
Data is only good as what comes in. You all heard the adage, garbage in, garbage out. And we make sure that with the way that we architect CyberDNA that there's never garbage.
Yeah,
good stuff. Right. Good stuff. So let's talk about, our partners are walking into sometimes customers looking at an MDR solution, trying to manage it in-house. Give me a couple of the key benefits of a fully managed MDR solution, like what we're talking about, versus trying to DIY, trying to do it yourself in-house.
Yeah, that's what we face a lot of times, especially with enterprise-sized customers or larger, medium-sized customers. They're thinking that we could probably build this cheaper than we could buy it. There's a lot that goes into that. And of course, every supplier says, no, we're the better solution. We certainly don't want to buy it, not build it. But here's a couple of things to think about as it relates to security. There's a time factor. You want to be safe today. You don't want to be safe a year from now only. You don't want to wait a year to be safe. CyberDNA deploys very quickly. It deploys within a matter of a couple hours once you get it, and we can have it to you within a matter of a couple of days. So you're talking days to get our solution and have it fully up and running, full production within days. If you were to try to build a similar solution, there's a time consideration and a cost consideration. The time to get on your own up to speed with what we can do with our solution, you're probably months, if not maybe a year and months away from that. You not only have to acquire the right engineers that know what they're doing for the deployment to make sure nothing's missed, right? You can't have a lack of visibility somewhere. There's an engineering perspective there. You've got to have an incident response manager or someone that's aware of what to do around that. You've got to have reverse malware engineers. You've got to have hunt team members or analysts who can give the eyes on glass, who can do the investigation into the alerts that are generated, and also find some that aren't generated. Those human resources, they're hard to find currently today. There's not a lot available to hire. And if you can't find them to hire, they're not your least expensive human resources. We'll say it that way. And so with Vigilant, you get all of that wrapped into one quick deployment, terrific expertise around exactly what needs to be done in your environment to keep you very secure. 11 years worth of private intelligence. We don't sell our intelligence in any public arena. So threat actors don't know how we're looking at what we're looking for. You get all of that within a matter of days for a regular recurring monthly subscription cost with very little upfront fees at a fraction, literally a fraction of the cost it would take you to build it out. Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. I'm obviously a big fan of managed. I don't want them to do it themselves, right? I want them to get the best of the breed technology solutions and have our partners help bring that in. So I love it. And I feel like, we go through this phase where companies, the IT staff gets asked to do more and more and more and more. And if that company's growing and being successful, that team is going to realize I can't take on anymore. And it's me that it comes back to from a security perspective. So am I going to go Google this at all hours of the night, or am I going to, have an actual life and then bring in the right solutions? Because ultimately, I'm either the hero or I'm going to be the failure here. So I love that. I've always been a big, obviously, proponent of the managed solutions.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Alan, I like to, we covered a lot of ground of what you have right now, all the key benefits, all the features, all the functionality, where it fits, who it applies to. I always like to give partners a little glimpse of what's coming in the future. I want to talk about roadmap, right? I know there's some things you can share, maybe some things you can't, but talk to me about, if a partner's getting into a deal and they're looking 3 months out, they're looking 6 months out, they're looking 12 months out. What, from a security perspective and deals perspective, what do you want them to be thinking about of what's coming, right? What can they expect from you guys in the future?
Absolutely. So trending recently, we've seen that 30% of all vulnerabilities are attacks directly against cloud platforms, cloud services. So as customers are changing their networks and looking at future technologies, we're trying to stay ahead of the curve and be there with them to make sure we're providing technology and services and a partnership that's protecting and future-proofing them against those moves. Inevitably, Vigilant has started adopting some of its own cloud technologies and cloud strategies to make sure that, we're eating our own dog food for what we're serving to our customers also.
Yeah.
With that, we want to try and position ourselves to make sure our customers have the ability to lead with Vigilant, that when they go into those strategies and they talk about the tactical side of what it is they want to accomplish, that we're going there ahead of them or into places that we've already been so that we can guarantee that we know what's coming around the corner for them, that we're taking our experience and the security systems that we've developed, the analytics and the data-driven decision-making, and we're providing good business intelligence and field intelligence for them on what those security products should and need to look like to hopefully reduce or eliminate that 30% risk that they have additionally may not have existed in their environment before.
Yeah, and that gets right back. We're very aware of studies and reports. We even do our own internal, right? And the IBM report that just came out that anyone can have access to, that's the stat that you're talking about. And a lot of that threat vector was really all around cloud misconfiguration. That is how the threat actors are taking advantage. So we say lead with Vigilant, right? Not only are we doing some development around cloud, but we currently also protect the cloud. We're just trying to stay ahead of the game, right? But lead with Vigilant, because with our CyberDNA solution, we can even speak to that cloud migration. What are some of the things about your environment that are unique to you, that are vulnerabilities potentially to you, that might help you make decisions around how you do migrate to the cloud? And we have a few tricks up our sleeve as well in the future coming around that cloud presence as well.
Absolutely. CyberDNA is a huge product for us, but a huge protection ring for our customers as well. And one of the things we're working very hard on right now is helping customers understand how CyberDNA fits into their cloud presence and integrates that seamlessly to provide the same protection we always have for on-prem and traditional hosting solutions.
Yeah, and then one other thing that if you have been around Vigilant for the last few months, you might have seen a lot of development around our visualization of data as well. Brand new visibility center that has all kinds of new visualizations, reports, some of them automated. For instance, there's a brand new security and health vulnerability report that's available every single week inside of that portal. It's a vulnerability scan of your network environment. So that's very powerful. And there's a lot of development in that arena as well. How do we visualize all of this data that we have in a way that's meaningful for our customers? So besides product development, there's service development happening there as well.
That's right. We don't want to just sit in the background for our customers. We want to make sure that the data that we capture not only is meaningful, but it's presented in a way that is easy to understand for everybody. It doesn't really do any good to have a lot of data, a lot of information if you can't understand what you're looking at. We're working very hard to make sure it's very digestible. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Final thought. You guys have an interesting proposal. I think sometimes our partners figure, where can I break in with security, right? Customers that I have that I've had relationships with, where do I go? Where do I start? So can you guys talk about some this no cost threat assessment certification that you guys have? Let's wrap with that.
Yeah, I mean, we have a no cost, no obligation trial, free trial, right? But that doesn't, labeling it that way really doesn't fully tell you the benefit of it, because it might sound like, yeah, we got to try Vigilant out for 5 days. What you get with that, though, is so much value. In fact, it has a value of somewhere around $50,000 to $60,000. What we're going to do is deploy our technology into your customer's environment. It's a very simple call that you have with our engineers, but we do that deployment, and we call it a proof of vigilance. Mm-hmm. And the return that your customers are going to get with that is that they're going to get a security threat certification from us, a report at the end that they're going to be able to keep that shows them really, in terms of a framework, 3 things. 1, is there a threat currently in their environment? That alone might be critical information for them to know right now. So it's a free trial with a huge amount of value, right? We're also going to say, are there any remnants hanging around from maybe a previous threat that is no longer active in your environment? There might be some leftovers, right? We're going to tell you that as well. And maybe as importantly as those things, we're going to tell you all about everything we saw in that environment through that report. So it's going to be a vulnerability, certification. Here's what we saw. Here's some areas we know based on what we see through our intelligence that you need to really tighten things up in your environment if you want to stay secure. We can help you make some business decisions around those. So you get the free trial. There's no obligation. It lasts for 5 days. You're going to get that report. And maybe one of the best things about it as well is during that report out time, we'll spend about an hour, hour and a half with one of our analysts and your customers going over what we saw. It'll give your customers a chance to ask questions. Here's the value for you as a partner. We have an 84% close rate on that historically. So customers who go to trial close at an 84% rate. So it really is a proof of vigilance. It's proof, not really a value, the value's there. It's proof that we can do what we say we can do, which is really be your ally, your partner in helping you stay secure as a company.
Love it. Is there a couple last questions that you might want to have a partner ask to draw that out, right? Is it how are you managing, how efficient are your logs? How are your false positives? What would be 1 or 2 questions that you would ask to see if we can draw out some of these assessments?
Yeah, I would ask, I think a lot of partners are afraid to talk about security. Some aren't, some are, but if maybe you haven't dealt in this arena before, it can be a little bit intimidating. First thing I'd say is don't be intimidated, right? We're going to be your ally through this process. But talk about what customers are talking about today, what your companies are talking about today. We're currently living in the world where everyone has gone to a remote workforce, right? A lot of them, we're hearing, aren't coming back. That creates a whole new threat landscape that they have to be aware of. We have already seen what we labeled way back in April as a second wave. Even in the last 2 weeks, we've had dozens of calls from prospects who had talked with us weeks or months ago, who did not go with our service, who have been part of the second wave attack. A lot of that has been ransomware. So talk about where they're at. What are you doing for your remote workforce to stay safe? And how confident are you in that security on the edge? Talk with them about their network environment. Talk with them about their cloud migration. So So what are you doing to keep your endpoint secure now that you have a remote workforce? Are you migrating to the cloud? What are you doing so that you aren't taken advantage of by threat actors around the decisions you're making about migrating to the cloud? Those would be a couple of real simple ways that really meets them where they're at today. And the third way I would say, even if we weren't in the world we're living in today, is would you like to know what's going on in your environment with full proof and full confidence? Would you like to know if there's a threat in your environment? I got a hookup that can get you that information. And not only will they kind of say yes or no, they'll prove it with a report, prove it with forensics, and you'll walk away with something that's very valuable for your company.
A lot of customers are afraid of security and they treat it a little bit like Schrodinger's cat. We're going to get a little nerdy on that reference, but they're afraid to open the lid on the box for fear of what might be inside of it. And what Vigilant is here to do is to take away that stigma and that fear that there's liability with your security. It's not. Whether you know that there's a threat inside that box or not, the threat is there. And it's more important to know that it's there and how somebody like Vigilant here with you partnering to ensure that that threat never leaves the box in the first place.
Love it. I appreciate that reference. We just finished rewatching Big Bang Theory, so I get it. I know. Awesome. Okay, that brings us to the end. I appreciate it, guys. We've got Greg Hodges and Alan Sellars from Vigilant. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. That wraps up another deep dive. This week it's with Vigilant on our Race to the Summit series, season 2. So until next time, stay tuned for some more. Thanks, everybody.